Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conquest Beyond the Summit session. We are delighted to have each one of you here today, and I'm sure it's going to be an interesting session with lots of learning for us. Now, before we dive into the session that lie ahead, let me provide a brief overview of the structure we have planned today. We'll be following a fireside chat session, creating an informal and engaging atmosphere for insightful conversations. In this fireside chat, our distinguished speaker will share his experiences and thoughts on his incredible journey on the Everest Base Camp. It's a unique opportunity for us to gain valuable insights and his perspectives. Without further ado, let's extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest, Shyam, who also is a co-founder at Mikro Grafeio. Shyam is based in US and he is a seasoned serial entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience. He is not only a visionary and technologist, but also a trusted advisor renowned for orchestrating successful ventures in information technology and deep tech solutions industries. Shyam's expertise span a broad spectrum, including smart city solutions, enterprise data intelligence, grant management programs, government initiatives in state and local government sectors, and of course, workspace and workforce management. We are truly privileged to have you today with us, Shyam, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya. That
So
was
get ready
a
for an engage. Yes,
that
Shyam,
was a
sorry.
wonderful introduction. But anyways, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So, guys, let's get ready for an engaging and thought provoking session. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to drop them on the chat and we'll address them in the Q&A towards the end. Once again, warm welcome to everybody, and let's make this webinar an enriching experience together. So, are you ready, Sham?
Yeah, well, it looks like I'm on the hot seat anyway. So yeah, I am.
So, please say something about yourself before we start.
Well, you already pretty much summed it up, being on the professional side. But I think this is more of a personal session. So I would probably tell a little bit more about my personal side than the professional side, which everybody knows, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I have my wife and my 2 boys over here with me. My older one is doing his computer science, specializing in behavioral neuroscience in Northeastern. He's studying in Boston. The younger one is finishing up his 12th, trying to get into college. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I love to play sports. Badminton is one of my favorite games. I've been playing that quite actively for the last 15 plus years now. And yeah, I kind of lead an active lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a little personal about me. I mean, I don't want to get into the professional side of things because most of you all know me as, what I do and all that stuff. But if there are any questions and if there's anything else that anybody wants to know, I'll be more than happy to answer them. So we can get on to the topic, Priya.
Yeah, thank you, Sham. Thank you so much. So, before I throw a lot of, I'm going to throw a lot of questions to you, Sham, today, right? Which I sort of very roughly prepared you.
Mm-hmm.
You can expect much more. Yeah. So, but before we start, tell us more about what is Everest Base Camp.
What is Everest Base Camp? Okay. Uh, Everest Base Camp is the place where one would be able to get to before they actually do the summit. That is the real mountaineering to the Mount Everest. So you get to the Everest Base Camp. So that is like the first layer or the first part where somebody kind of gets into, and then you have a base camp 2, base camp 3, base camp 4, and so that's where the journey starts for you to start trekking or going all the way up to the Everest. So that's the starting point to embark on the Everest summit. So that requires more of mountaineering skills and not the trekking skills. So there are people, so you could get to Everest base camp even by a chopper, let's say. And you could
Okay.
you could get down directly to the base camp over there, and then you start doing the summit. And then there are various camps during the summit. By the end of, I think, like by the third or the fourth camp, you almost get to the top. So that's what it is.
And how many days is this entire journey?
The journey towards the camp, I mean, till the base camp, right? So the journey till the base camp is what I did is about 9 days. And out of these 9
Wow.
days, yeah, it's a 9-day trek, but I can tell you how the 9 days work out. So it's not actually 9 days, right? So the real trek, I would say, is only 6 days. 2 days are resting days. So you don't really advance, but you still do some local trekking to get yourself acclimatized. That's what you do. So that's 6 plus 2 is 8. The ninth day is for you to have the darshan of the Everest from the closest vicinity, which is called the Kala Patthar trek. That's one of the most difficult treks you can do. That is the ninth day. And then you have another 3 days to come back to the original place where you started. So it's a 9 plus 3 is a 12-day trek, is what I took. I mean, that's what I did. But if you want to, there are people based on the age and the comfort factors, they would actually take a break in one of these places for maybe 1 or 2 days just to get themselves a little rested, get some acclimatization done properly, and then they move on. So there are people who do it in 15 days and 20 days also. So I kind of think that I did the
Wow.
fast track, is what I'm thinking, but probably the fastest track that you could do is in 6 days, is what I would think. If you take no rest at all, 6 to 7 days, yeah. So I took,
Hmm.
yes. My
You
eighth day,
okay? So you did. Hmm.
eighth day, I reached the base camp. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So what inspired you to take on the challenge of the Everest Base Camp?
Actually, honestly, there was nothing that inspired me to take on the base camp. That is the real answer. And I'm going to keep this session as honest as possible. So, might not be very inspiring for a lot of people, but I'll just tell you that's the truth. Uh, the opportunity fell on my lap, and this happened sometime early or mid 2022. And there was an opportunity, and there was a group from Canada who was actually planning to do this trek, and I don't know any one of them. And they needed another two more people. So they knew somebody here who's a doctor, who's a friend of mine. And then that made it four. And then they needed the fifth person. And then they just said, Sham, do you want to just try this? And he just gave my name. And because of COVID, there was a lot of backlog. So people couldn't actually get their names. And I mean, because there was too many people going. So by the time I got the intimation, it was almost like a year later. It was in March 2023. I was intimated saying that you're selected to do this trek by the tour company. I first thought it was a spam because I didn't even know what the hell they're talking about, because I don't even remember signing up for this, right? So then my friend called me up and he said, no, did you get this email? And I'm like, yeah, I did get this email. And yeah, so then that's when it's then and the only thing is, then I was like quite shocked. I wasn't even sure what to do. I mean, I'm not a trekker, or I haven't done much of trekking. I mean, I do a little bit of trekking when I'm out with my family, or when I go and do some camping. That's when I do a little bit of trekking. But this trekking, that too, to the Mount Everest, is supposed to be like, it's a bucket it's a bucket list on everybody's and I'm not really sure how to take it. But what I thought the first thing to do is, instead of just saying yes or no, I thought I'll keep my spot, and all that I had to do was pay a little bit of advance to secure my spot, and then figure out if I should do this or not towards the end. Because the worst come worst, I would just lose that money and not know about it. So that's how the opportunity came. So there was no inspiration, or there was nothing that actually sometimes life throws at certain things to you, and you take it and see how that turns out for you. So that's what it is, Priya.
Absolutely. How beautiful.
Priya, I have a
So,
question.
yep.
I just
Yes,
wanted
yes.
to understand how long did you uh, take to get trained for that particular summit, and how
Yeah.
was it so difficult to get trained for the summit?
Yeah, so it's a good question. First, I'm not a trekker, Rajesh. All right, so I don't even know how to. So for me, it was going to be it was very hard, right, to get trained. So I had to go through a proper training, in the sense, like, make sure that it was regular. Now, training in the sense, like, I did not take any professional training. I live in a very beautiful place called Lehigh Valley. It's a valley. It's in Pennsylvania, and it's a place called Lehigh Valley. So I'm actually surrounded by mountains, the Poconos Mountains, the Appalachian Trails. That's what I'm surrounded by. And it's good that you asked me that. Actually, as a part of my preparation, every weekend, I started trekking each mountains. One mountain I used to trek every Saturday or Sunday. And after living for 22 years in this valley, I didn't know how beautiful of a place I'm actually living in, because I have never done this, right? All that I do is, we are always on the ground level, and we've never climbed any mountain, and it's so beautiful. And actually, that's when I really knew for the last 20 plus years that I've been living in a beautiful place, and I didn't even realize it. So, yes, I did it. And what I can say was I was lucky that I had a friend of mine who works for my company, but he just migrated from Australia, and he's a professional trekker. So when he heard that I actually signed up for this, he said, "You know what? I'll come and trek along with you." So I had a trekking buddy, right? I mean, that was really, I mean, that again, like I said, I think it's more like God sent, and it was, it just happened. I was lucky, and he was there. So I didn't have to do this on my own. Every Saturday, Sunday, we would meet up in one of these mountain places, and we would do the trek, spend about 4 5 hours trekking and coming back. And yeah, I mean, right from your clothing to your shoes, everything had to be thought out. You just can't go trek. I had to carry weights, like a bag with everybody's food and water and some books, just to make sure that I have that, like, at least about 6 7 kilos of weight I had to carry, to make sure that I practice carrying that. So, and then they also say, you buy a new shoe, you can't go trek with those shoes because you might get blisters. You have to actually break into the shoe, make sure that you're really comfortable. So you got to do a lot of trekking and make sure that everything that before you go and embark on your journey, everything that you actually have is something that you should have used, so that you feel very comfortable over there. Because one small thing goes wrong in these 9 days trek, it's going to be pretty bad.
Okay.
That's why.
So was there any difficulty you faced during the summit? Is there anything which you
Yeah, I mean, there is
you're on mute, Priya? Sorry. Okay.
who's on mute?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I mean, there was Rajesh. I mean, it wasn't an easy trek, because there's only so much one can train for themselves, right? You can train yourself for one of the things that you should do is, you have to remember that the trek is for about 9 days, and every day you trek at least for about 6 to 8 to sometimes even 10 hours, depending on the climate, right? So you need to add a lot of kilometers to your legs, so your legs never get tired. You shouldn't feel tired. You can't afford to get tired. So you really need to that's one thing you have to do. Like here, they say add miles to your legs, so add kilometers to your legs. So that's very important. And even after doing all that stuff, the last 4 to 5 days, you would get to an altitude where the oxygen level starts to come down. And how are you going to react to that? You can't train for that. You just got to go and try your luck out there to see how that works out for you, right? And then again, as you start gaining altitude, you could get into an altitude sickness. Again, that is something that you can't practice or prepare for. You just hope that things work out and all that stuff, and you have a body and you have everything, that even if something like this happens, you're able to recoup and recover. But to answer your question, Rajesh, yes, I did encounter some, not some, I mean, there was some real big difficulties that I did encounter. I mean,
So
unless you...
Shyam, just taking a step back, sorry
Hmm.
to take you a little back.
No,
How
no
did you
problem.
really prepare yourself to go for that? Because you said this just came to you. You were not prepared in that sense. So how did you mentally prepare yourself to start your regime, to start your trekking? I mean, the exercise and go for it.
So I'll take another 2 steps back, Priya, before I answer that question. Um, First, when this thing came, I had to kind of announce this in my house, right? So my wife was totally like, I mean, she actually knew what this trek is all about. she watches National Geography, and she enjoys all these things a lot. So she knew about this trek a lot more than I did. I mean, I knew it was, some trek, some nice fancy big trek it is. That much I knew. And I knew, of course, it was going to be difficult because it's the Everest, but I didn't know exactly what it actually entailed, right? In the sense, what does it actually take? I didn't know. And probably she knew it. So first thing is, she said, this is not a walk in the park. And, she knows me for the last so many years. And she said, I know you have a lot of mental strength, but this is not going to just, your mental strength alone is not going to cut it. Right. And I understand that you're active, but this requires some, additional skill set that you need in order for you to do this trek. And that was one. And my son was like, he said, as a joke, he said, I'll do you a favor, swap my name with your name, and I'll go do the trek and come back. So that was his reaction. And then my mother wasn't ready for this, and everybody was hearing it, and all were like, wow. And nobody was like, Priya, nobody was trying to tell me, oh, you know what, I want to come and do this trek, or I'll come and, hey, let me also sign me up, I'll do it. Because everybody was like, oh, wow, really? I mean, yeah, maybe you can do it. I don't know. I mean, are you ready? I mean, so I could just see that. And that kind of, that was quite scary for me, in the sense, like the initial reactions, right? So one thing I promised to myself is, I'm not going to go do this trek if I'm not really convinced. And I have to mentally prepare myself and physically prepare myself. And unless I get to a particular stage where I feel that even if there was one reason that told me that I should not go, I would have canceled it. So the mental part of the preparation itself was the first thing that I had to actually do. And that was kind of scary. So that kind of got me into leading a pretty disciplined life, at least for the last 4 months before I started the trek, I can say, wherein I would say that every Friday or a Saturday here is a weekend, and I kind of relax, and probably we go out for a party, and then you come back late, have a few drinks, and then the Saturday morning you wake up late, and the Sundays are lazy and all that stuff. So I kind of stopped partying, and I stopped drinking and all the stuff for the last 4 months, I would say. And because every Saturday morning I had to wake up fresh, and I had to go and do this trek. Sunday I had to do this. Every weekday, whenever between work, if I used to get a chance, I used to go to the gym and do some core exercises so that I can strengthen my back, because I had injured my back while playing badminton. I've been playing that for the last 15 years. So I still have a weak back, and I had to make sure that for 9 days carrying all this weight, I wasn't sure if my back was going to actually withhold. And that was another big concern that I had, my wife had, and everybody else had. So I had to address all these issues and make sure that I was really there before I could actually embark. So one thing I can say is, mentally, I did not take this to be a walk in the park. I did not take it lightly. And I thought, and I took it really seriously to make sure that, I was going to get ready. And yeah, I mean, I booked my tickets only a week before the actual trek started. So I wasn't even sure, because till that very last second, I wasn't sure if I was going to go or not. But then, I spoke to my wife, I talked to her, and I asked her, and she saw me doing all this, right? And that was a very different version of Shyam that she was seeing. And she couldn't say anything. My mother was here. My mom couldn't say anything, because she was also seeing me do all this hard work and everything else that I'm trying to prepare myself. And finally they said, yeah, I mean, we'll pray for you so you can go. So they did let, they said, yeah, go ahead, book your tickets and go. So yeah, I mean, it did. So the mental preparation was also there, apart from the, yes.
So Shyam, exactly when you told about this, your journey to me sometime back, when you came back and stuff, that's, I mean, this part of your story, the preparation before going, the disciplined life which you had led for 4 months, stopped all whatever was supposed to be stopped. Getting up early, on time, sleep on time. I mean, that inspired me so much, and I decided we need to do this session with you today. Right?
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so moving on. So, I know when Rajesh asked you, you did share, about the difficulties and all, but was there any specific moment during the trek that tested your determination, and how did you overcome that?
Well, for that, I have to actually quote something that really happened, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, the way in which this entire itinerary works out is you fly into Kathmandu, Nepal, Kathmandu. That's where you land. And that's where I mean, I landed from US, and even if you're coming from India, you will have to still come to Kathmandu first. From Kathmandu, you will have to go to a place called Lokla. That's a small, in case you guys want to check this out, it's fine because it has the most scariest uh, uh, runway in the world. It's a very short runway, and at the end of the runway is a huge cliff. I mean, there's nothing there. So the flights have to be very, very cautious when they actually land over there. I think the climate and the forecast and everything else has to be very good, or else they keep canceling it. So that was the first scary moment. So what I actually did was I said, we are not taking the flight, and I took a chopper instead. So we were a group of 5 people. I didn't want to take the risk. Before I start the trek, I didn't want anything to go wrong. So I said, we'll just take the helicopter. There's no need to go and figure out the run strip. So, so we landed over there in Lokla. From Lokla is where you actually start the trek, and that's your day one. The first day, you start from Lokla to a place called Phakding. It's called Phakding. That's the way it's pronounced, and that's where you go, and that's your first stop. And you gain about you gain about some 2,600, 2,700 meters of altitude. You gain all of a sudden from the low, and you're walking, and that takes about 6 to 8 hours. So you reach. So all of us from Lokla, we were all set. 5 of us, and there are 2 doctors. We all go, and there's this one person who came from India with a slight fever, right? And he was there, and we were like, oh my God, the first day. And he was like, should I back out? And he said, let me try. And, so he was going. I mean, he said, okay, fine, let's all go. And he came, we were all walking. And again, the first day's trek was about 6.5, 7 hours of trekking. It was beautiful, though. I mean, that's the day you start, and it's all green. The mountains are green. Everything is green. And there's a lot of like rainforest trees and all that stuff. So it's beautiful. And you reach this place, we all check in, and we are all sitting on the dining table to have dinner, because we all have to, go to bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And the next day, the trek starts again at 6:37 in the morning. And this guy, everybody's focusing on this friend who has this fever, right? And they're all looking at him, and they're asking him, how is he feeling? And he's like, yeah, I took some tablets. I think I'm getting better. Hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be fine, and all the stuff. And so everybody's focusing on him. And suddenly the dinner comes onto my table, and I don't even eat the dinner. I just felt like throwing up. Just like that. And I'm like literally sitting like this and talking to you with the same exact energy. And all of a sudden, I felt like I had to throw up. I don't know why. I don't know how. I just felt like I have to throw up. So I went and I started puking, completely vomiting. And I think I was vomiting till about 3 in the morning. And pretty much I couldn't eat anything. I was drained. I was lying in the bed, and they said it's nothing but mountain sickness. He just got it. He's unlucky. So in the inn, there is this person. I mean, we have 2 Sherpas. So one is the person who leads it, and then there's another person who's his assistant. And so the lead Sherpa, he's like, he's quite, he's seen this all. The man is probably 50 plus, and he knows and everything else. And he basically told everybody that, don't worry, nothing to worry. We are in a very nice place, because Lokla to Phakding is very close by. We can send him back to Lokla, and from there he can take a chopper and go back to Kathmandu, and he can, go wherever he wants. So because he has no energy anymore, right? I mean, the guy, I've been vomiting and all the stuff. So I had these 2 doctors over there. They helped me, give me some, tablets for nausea and all the stuff. And I kind of, by about 3 in the morning, I was like done vomiting, very tired. And yeah, I mean, I was looking out, And there are some green mountains over there, just outside the cabin. Beautiful, very beautiful mountains. Apparently, there are a lot of mountains that you can't trek in Nepal because they are considered as, God mountains, because people worship there. So you can't trek. Nobody is allowed to trek. And there are various mountains. So this is a green mountain. And then as you go, there are some white mountains also that people cannot trek because they're all considered as God mountains. So I was literally standing and staring at one of these God mountains, which people had said that. And I looked at that mountain and I said, hey, listen, I've done my stuff. I'm not really sure if this is something that you really want me to do or not, but let's see how things work out tomorrow. And I had these energy bars in my backpack. So I took 1 or 2 energy bars. I had that and I slept for about 2 or 3 hours. 6 in the morning, I put the alarm. I mustered some courage, woke up, packed everything, and I was there with everybody else on the table, sitting down. And everybody were like, okay, the guy is packed and he's come. What does he want to do now? I mean, is he planning to go back, or is he going to come along with us to the next destination, right? And obviously, I said, yeah, let me, I wasn't sure what to do either because, and I said, no, let's go. I'll come along with you guys. And they were like, okay, fine, let's go. Nobody wanted to say anything because, and I don't even know everybody, right? That's the first day. And there are 3 people from Canada. They're all supposed to be good trekkers and all the stuff, but said, let's go. And the second day, we end up trekking and we have to go to this place called Namche Bazaar. And that's almost like about 3,500 meters you would reach that day. That's a pretty, and that's a very steep trek. It's one of the difficult treks out of all these 8 to 9 days, all the way from here to Namche Bazaar. And I did the whole trek because the nature was so nice. The valley, the rivers, the mountains, and everything else was so beautiful that I didn't even realize I didn't have the energy. I kept walking, trekking and all the stuff. Had lunch in the afternoon, still okay. Almost I reached Namche Bazaar. I could see the hotel that we had to go and stay. And it's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all it was for us to finish the trek for that day. And I thought I almost made it. And just before the 10 minutes, I started getting cramps on both my legs because of the previous days, all the vomiting and everything else. I had completely, I think I lost all my, everything that was there. And I was drinking some electrolytes and all the stuff, but I don't think that was enough. And I got cramps and I couldn't walk. I couldn't move one step. Like, I'm not tired. My body is fine. My legs are not paining, but I had cramps. And out of these 5 people, there is one of the doctors, there was a lady doctor. She was a lady, and it was getting 6 o'clock. It was almost getting dark. And now I can't move, and the whole group is stuck because of me. So I had to tell everyone, you guys leave. And I told, one of the Sherpas to stay with me. And I said, once I get better, we will leave. So you guys go. You don't want to wait till it's dark. And believe it or not, guys, I was actually lying on the floor, on the road, because I couldn't get up. I couldn't walk. And I didn't know what to do. And the Sherpa was asking me, he was talking to me in Hindi. He was telling me, Shyam, what do we do? I said, what do you want me to do? I said, I can't get up till my leg is fine. I'm not going to be able to get up. So I'm just going to stay. I'm just going to lie here. And as I was lying in about 2 minutes, in less than 2 minutes, there was one guy who was coming down with a horse and he was going back to his village. I stopped the guy, and that guy apparently couldn't even speak Hindi because he could only speak his local thing. So I had to tell my thing saying that I told him to say, I want to get on the horse and ask him to take me. It's only 10 minutes, right? So I'll take, let me go on the horse. Walking is the problem, but I can take the horse and go. So the Sherpa tells me the last 10 minutes is through the cliffs. It's a little dangerous before you get to the actual village. So unless you know horse riding, you're not going to be able to make it. So do you know horse riding? Now I don't know what to say. I said, yeah, I know horse riding. I said, I know horse riding. I said, you put me on the horse. And I said, it's not like I'm going on own. I said, the guy will be there with the horse, right? I mean, the guy who knows the horse, he would be there, right? And he said, yeah, he's going to be there, but you still need to know how to control the horse or whatever. I said, I'll control whatever you want. Put me on the horse. So these guys take me, put me on the horse somehow. And my legs are paining so much that I couldn't, because it's cramps, right? So it's just pulling. Both my legs were pulling. Before I could even realize it, the horse took off. The horse took off, and then my full focus was, I forgot the pain in my cramps. I forgot everything else. It was like, how the hell do I stay without falling from the horse? That was my only thing. The horse is galloping, and this guy is in front. The owner of the horse is in front of him, and he's taking the horse and he's just going. And I'm trying to talk to him. He doesn't understand anything. He's saying nothing. He's laughing, and he's also running along with the horse. These guys run. We can't walk here, and these guys just run. I mean, amazing. And I don't know. That was the first time I learned to do horses, but I took the horses right through the cliffs of Namche Bazaar, and I went to the hotel, and I was able to rest over there. So, yeah, this was the most difficult moment of my entire 9-day trek, because these 2 days were very difficult. Of course, the whole group had actually planned to send me back because everybody said that he's done. The first day he was vomiting, mountain sickness. Second day he got cramps. I don't think he's going to make it. So the third day was luckily a resting day. There was no need of doing any trek on the third day. So I rested the third day, and I did enough exercises, and I think after that it was a smooth sail for me. But everybody else in my group started getting some one problems, and how we overcame all that, and finally all of us made it towards the end. It was all good. But my first 2 days was almost like the climax for me. But yeah, but I kind of survived it. And in a way, I'm glad that it happened the very first 2 days. Yeah. So that was the most difficult moment.
Wow, what a story. So, Sham, what life lessons did you learn from this experience? And how has it changed your perspective on challenges in general?
One, yeah, it's a good question. Life lessons. Um, for me to have recouped in a single day's time after vomiting for till 3 in the morning, and being able to get up at 6:30 the next day and still make that walk and do that 8 hours trek, was all because of some of the good habits I probably had for the last so many years. And I think it's very important that there are certain practices that is in life, whether it is sports or whether it is any personal thing, that you should do, and you never know when these things can come in use, is what I would feel. Like, for example, for me, endurance, playing badminton, doing swimming, all that stuff, I think helped, because I was vomiting. I had the mountain sickness, but I think I had my physical condition was pretty good, that I could actually spring back in a day's time and actually do it the very next day. And how did that happen is only because of not something that could have happened just in 24 hours of time. I think it is a result of the lifestyle that I would have led over the last 15, 20 years, is what would have actually happened. So my only uh, lesson is, whatever good things you continue to do, you please continue it. Don't ask or don't think as to how that is going to be beneficial as of today, because you never know when that will come in use. So that's one of the um I mean, that's what I learned, and that's what I thought. I mean, I couldn't find any other explanation for this, so that's what it is.
Awesome, awesome. So, Sham, very, very keen to know if there was a awe-inspiring or memorable moment from your trek which stayed with you. It's still there with you. Beautiful moment.
Yeah, every day there was something nice and beautiful, Priya. Every day it's a 9-day trek, right? So every day there is something nice and beautiful. But then again, if I have to pick just that one moment, I think, like in everybody's life, if you set a destination or if you set a goal, And when you achieve that goal, that feeling of happiness is definitely there. So for me, it was on the 8th day when I actually touched down the base camp. When I reached the base camp and when I was able to kind of make a mark over there, that's when I thought it was great. But other than that, there are so many memories throughout the journey. There's so many incidents and everything was very nice. But yeah, if I have to pick one, it was the day I finished and when I was able to kind of achieve the goal that I set out for. Yeah.
You were also telling me about mountains talking to you.
Well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to actually say that because that would look a little funny and I'm not really sure if it was good. But since this is it's a personal chat and maybe if somebody can understand this, it's fine. But at some point of time, as you keep, let me put it this way. So the last 4 days of the trek, the oxygen gets it gets lesser and lesser. So even though you're with a group, you can't talk too much because the moment you talk, you get tired because your acid is gasping for breath. You're on an incline. The oxygen is only at about 60 to 70%. So your breathing gets very, very difficult. So you try not to talk too much, and yet you have to keep trekking, right? So you get to do a lot of things at that particular point of time. You introspect, you think about a lot of things, and then constantly your eyes are always in contact with the nature, especially the mountains. So one of the things I just told you what I just said, yeah, the mountain spoke to you. I didn't tell you what it spoke to me. So yeah, but the question is, what did it speak to me? Is that the question?
No, I mean, just in whatever way. I mean, if you don't want to share, it's okay. I'll leave it to you. But it's a connect is what is more important, right? Like you said, you will not have the energy to speak to the others who are with you, but then you will probably be talking to nature, mountains.
Yeah, I mean, it's a silent conversation, right? I mean, you look at it, you might be thinking so many things. For me, as I was thinking certain things, I almost felt as if it was the mountains, either they were responding to me or it was telling me something.
How beautiful.
Yeah, so it was. Maybe I can share just one thing that it actually told me. I mean, there are various things that you think when you keep going, right? One thing that it actually told me was, and that's why I always like to say that this was a very humbling experience, is because it somehow kind of told me that anything and everything that happens to you or happens, to me in specific, right? So uh, it's something that I had destined and gave it to you. I dropped it in your lap. If you ever felt that you jumped and you achieved something in life, don't think about it. Even if you didn't jump or if you didn't do anything, that would have still fallen in your lap because I had decided to give it to you. So this message was very clearly kind of given to me. And yeah, sometimes I just felt that sometimes you think that you've achieved a lot by doing so many things. um I just felt that these things are given for you, it's destined for you, so you're getting it, that's it. So don't over rejoice, is kind of the message that I got. Yeah, so that was one of those messages.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sham, for sharing that. Uh, did this trek made you reevaluate your priorities or perspectives on what truly matters?
I always had my heart at the right priorities, Priya. I really don't know if I had to kind of change anything, but I can tell you something that really happened was there were days when you would finish a trek and it would be a very risky path that you would have gone through. Very risky paths because you trek through glaciers. And then the last day after you finish your base camp and all the stuff, when you're trekking back, because of the climate suddenly changing, I had to do about an hour and a half in the pitch dark with my lights on my, on my hat, and this is right next to the base camp, and it's very dangerous too. And yeah, somehow once I got to my destination, I used to call my wife up, and I used to. I think I told her. I mean, she was quite shocked because I've never told her all these things. Is I said, yeah, I think I just want to come there and probably give you a hug or something like that. I was thinking, and um, yeah, you get to a stage where you feel that you don't actually appreciate what you have, and these are some of those very dangerous, risky moments when you're finishing that. You'll think, oh my God, I mean, because if something had gone wrong, and I just felt like, man, I mean, I should have just told all these people are really important. My mother, my sister, my wife, my kids, and all that stuff. So everybody comes into place. And, sometimes when you're leading your normal life, you take a lot of things for granted, and you probably don't say enough things that you should be saying, is what I think. And I'm generally not that kind of person too. I mean, that's not me. I mean, I think my mother understands me, my wife understands me, my kids understand me. I'm there for them, and everything is there. But this is the only thing that changed, Priya, where I really felt like calling and telling them something. So that was, yeah, that was the only thing, I would think.
Nice, nice. So do you think that we should actually do this, as in
In
tell?
the thing is, if you suddenly do it, your wife might get shocked because, or your husband might get shocked. It depends on how it is. Because if I had, see, now when I said this, at least my wife could understand why I said it, because this guy is there somewhere, and I don't know, are you, because the first thing she asked me is, are you all right, are you good, and all that stuff. That was the first response. I said, no, I'm absolutely fine, everything is good. But it's a different perspective now, right? In the sense, like, yeah, I mean, it does, but the answer is yes, you should. I would say you should. Doesn't hurt.
Absolutely, sure. So Sham, any any advice do you have for individuals who are contemplating taking a similar challenge, adventures in their life?
I mean, similar challenges. I would first say, the way I would say it is, if I can do it, anybody else can do it. I think everybody here on this, on today's session, everybody can do it. 100%, no doubt. But again, I don't think it's a walk in the park. You can't take your bags and go tomorrow. That's not going to work out. Because again, the statistics very clearly says only 65% of the people who embark on this journey make it. The remaining 35%, they have to be, they're brought down, because not everybody finishes it. So two things is very important when you do it. Is, of course, you need to train yourself. You need to be, you got to be physically fit for that. The most of the, among this data that I've seen, the 35% of the people who had come back, the general age of theirs was either they were in their teens, or they were in their 20s or early 30s. The people above that were there because, and I've seen that also. I mean, actually, along with me itself, there were a few people. There are a lot of groups who we meet every day, right? During the trek. 7th day, 8th day, young guys, 26 years old, 27 years old, gym, well built, solid guys, hatta kata guys. Some mountain sickness or something that comes wrong. And actually, and again, breathing becomes a problem, right? Because oxygen is very less, and then they can't deal with it. And then they just start descending from there. They don't make it all the way. So what is lacking, I think, for between youngsters and, once you get a little matured, is your mental strength. You should know how to overcome a lot of these things through your mental strength. So I think that's very important. So yeah, I mean, training and some you need to train yourself a little bit. I'm not saying no, but mental strength, breathing exercises, all that will help. Everything would help. I swim quite regularly, so for me that kind of helped out with the oxygen part when I went to the altitude, because I think I was able to take it pretty okay. I mean, I did struggle, I'm not saying no, but yeah, I could deal with it. I knew how to deal with it, at least. Yeah.
Sham, any specific mindful or mental resilience practices you employ during the trek that can be beneficial for managing stress in the corporate world, stress and pressure and stuff?
See, again, um, one of the things that I would like to say is, take a deep breath and take it slow. And I'm not talking about the trek alone. I'm talking about it in real life too. Every day there will be some stress or something that's going to happen. You're not going to go back. You don't want to turn back. Take a deep breath. Take it slow. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Please remember that. Don't try to run fast. Don't try to do anything. Take your time. And actually, the more you take your time, the better you're able to deal with stuff. And that is the only way you will be able to get there. And don't be, because what's going to happen is if you're just going to look at your destination or your objective alone, and then if you try to make it, sometimes you will not enjoy the journey. But on the contrary, try enjoying the journey. You wouldn't even know how you reach your destination. And whatever it is in your personal life, whether it is your career prospects or your personal aspirations, whatever it is, anyhow, you have to set yourself on a journey to get somewhere. I would definitely say, please enjoy the journey. You will get to the destination. Don't just look out for the destination because you're going to tire yourself out. There are people who used to say, oh my God, how long is it going to take to reach there? How long is it going to get today? Okay, it's only 4 hours. Oh, we have another 4 more hours to trek today. So you're counting down, you're desperate, you miss out the beauty. There are no photographs, there's nothing else to share. You don't enjoy anything. I mean, I can narrate my 9 days, I think, for the rest of my life because I've captured everything up here. And I really didn't even need a camera for this. And I can say anything that I have to because it was the journey that I was able to enjoy. So you don't feel tired, your legs didn't get tired, nothing happens. So please enjoy the journey and, don't be too desperate about the destination.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's now open to the floor. If any one of you have any question for Shyam, feel free to ask.
Yes,
Yes,
Shyam,
Rajesh.
you get a chance, or are you planning to do a summit again? Because I'm not a professional trekker, but I trek a lot. Okay, for you,
You trek a lot.
mountains talking, for me, mountains calling. So I do a lot of treks in South India.
Okay.
Okay, so for
Good.
me, it's like this. I get addicted to the trek. So I
Yes, it is
started
addictive.
trekking when I was almost about 21 year old, almost 20 years back. So it's like addiction. At least once a year, I have to travel, I have to trek. So for you, is it like, are you addicted to the trekking, or do you want to do that again?
Okay. So the answer is I'm not addictive, not yet. Okay. I don't know if I will be, but there's already talks going on for Kilimanjaro for next year and Annapurna base camp for next year. There are already talks going on. I haven't signed up for anything as yet. I'm still, enjoying that I finished my base camp and I'm going to think about all these things only next year. But the question is, I'm not addicted, but I understand the addiction part. For example, I'm quite addicted to badminton. I've been playing this for the last more than 15, 17 years. I have to play at least twice a week. Whether I have a back, I have an Achilles problem, any problem, I still have to play that because that is an addiction for me. That I agree. So I understand the addiction part, but the trekking is not yet an addiction for me.
Thanks.
Yep.
Any other question? Shankar, I know you want to ask. You're controlling yourself, I guess.
No. Actually, it was. I only want to say something here. I heard. No, there's no question because I had a one-on-one session with Shyam, where he explained this to me in detail. What I want to say here is, I'm listening this for the second time, but it is so inspiring, and it is not. Not even. I was so. Of course, thankfully I didn't lose much, though I was like late by 6-7 minutes. The story when it started, and it is so interesting, and it looks like I can hear that a few more times as well. I don't know, it's because of your storytelling, or it is really getting all the lessons. And he did tell me in great length, by the way. It was a good evening that we spent time together, I think in Mohan's house, right, Shyam?
Mohan's house, yeah.
So it's how many ever times you hear this, it's going to be interesting. So that's what I want to say. So I've been it's so awesome and inspiring.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, Priya, because it's a corporate session, right? I want to Yeah, because corporate session in the sense, even though it's a personal session, but it's still a company and all that stuff.
Sure.
I was trying to answer all the questions so far that everybody had, and if there is no question, there is one corporate move that I made during my trek, which I generally do in my business. Right, I'm a businessman at the end of the day. I run businesses, I run a company, and I see problems and I see how to tackle that. And there's something that I wanted to share with all of you all. So let's go back to my story. Second day, Namche Bazaar, I said the horse took me there and I was lying down. I'll tell you what happened after that. I was in the bed sleeping. And there was a complete, don't take this in the wrong way or the bad way. They are all good people. They are my best friends today. They all cooped against me, saying that we'll call my wife. They wanted to call my wife, and they wanted my wife to talk to me and convince me that I should come back. Luckily, they didn't get the signal, or they didn't have or something. Whatever happened, that call did not go through. Luckily, thank God that didn't happen. Right? So this friend of mine, the doctor friend of mine, and the Sherpa, the main Sherpa, they come back to me in the room the next morning because it's a rest day, and they are all going out to do some acclimatization. They tell me that they will get a helicopter to Namche Bazaar, and from there I can fly back to Lokla, and from Lokla to Kathmandu. So basically, and I don't blame them, by the way. And remember, in life, you can't be a weight to somebody. They're all there to finish the trek. And then there is this one guy who has absolutely nothing, no strength in him because he was vomiting till 3 in the morning. The next day he's got cramps. The guy can't walk. He's on a horse. He just barely saved his life, and he did a horse ride on the cliff when he came and landed up over here. And we still have another 7 days to go. 7 days. This is the first 2 days. Now, what do? Now I got the picture. Nobody's telling me this, but I smelt it very clearly. Now, this can happen in everybody's life. So how do you deal with it, right? Now, you can't go with them, and they will be constantly thinking that, oh, this guy is going to be, I don't know when, what, which. Now, today, what is it going to happen to him? Or what, like, people are going to get scared. So I didn't know. So I was resting the whole day. I was thinking about it for half a day. When everybody came back for dinner that night, I came out with a plan. And this is what I wanted to tell you. I actually went ahead and spoke to the lodge owner and told him that I want to rent a horse for the next day. One full day, I said, you give me one guy and a horse should come with me. And I said, I'll pay that guy. The horse need not do anything. Just come with me. So he arranged the horse. I said, I'll pay you $50 or something. I said, just for them. That guy was like, for what? He said, for nothing, just coming. Believe it or not, one good thing that happened is that poor horse in his entire life would have been carrying burdens in that mountain. That horse would have blessed me. I'm quite sure. Because it would have said, this is the first time it got to grace an 8-hour journey by not even carrying anything. And you know what was the best thing that happened to all my friends who came? This was called insurance, that for them it was insured. Everybody was happy. On the contrary, everybody said, Shyam, you should come. Don't worry. If anything goes wrong, the horse is there. You can go right back to Namche Bazaar. Because now nobody has to worry. Because see, when you're on a trek and when you're going on a journey, and if something goes wrong for somebody in the midway, nobody can help you. And this is the reality of life too. And you have to understand that. So you don't want to be a burden on anyone. So one of the corporate lessons that I always, because I learned, is you should know to carry your own weight. Please remember that. Because if you really expect others to carry your weight, it's not going to be, maybe for a day, people will be nice to you, second day tops, but then after that, they're going to think, this is not a guy who can be in the race for the long time. So please make sure. But of course, the horse did come the third day. Nobody had to use the horse. Even half the way itself, we all sent the horse back because this horse was already ready. So I had no problems to gallop the next 7 days. So I made it. But that insurance policy that I had to take of that horse made everybody else happy, and it was all good, and it all set the mood Correct. So that is also one of the corporate moves that I probably made during the journey. So again, another lesson is, please remember that you need to
Beautiful.
carry your. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Shyam. Shyam, you had shared a small, quick video with me. I
Yeah.
will maybe ask Akhil if we can play that and show it to everybody. In case if there is any technical challenges, then we'll probably share it with everyone.
Okay.
Akhil? Volume, Akhil.
I'm not sure.
Just-
Sometimes the videos might not work on Zoom. It's not Akhil's fault.
I think you need to set the volume thing. We'll just wait to see.
Okay.
Yeah, let's last try.
Показав ти мені кохання блискавку, та між двох світів надіслав ти мені листівку, ластівку з теплих островів. Я лечу до тебе крізь туман, почуття вулкан. Це є твій план, я в тобі відчула океан. Пам'ятай героїв, цей мій роман. Покохали так, що згоріли дотла, тілі від обіймів палали тіла. Калихами нічно попала пила, і за мить дорослою стала мала. Я ще не кохала, ти не жила, калихами нічно копала.
Wow. And I saw the picture where you were talking to the mountain, Shyam.
You did? Okay. There are a lot of mountains I spoke to. Yeah.
Great. Well, we have to bring this insightful fireside chat to a close, Shyam. A heartfelt thank you to you for generously sharing your experience, and that too, in this time of the
No
day or the
problem.
night you are in. It's
I
what
still have a
12.
call to make. I
now?
still have a call to make to Shankar anyway. So, my
Oh,
night is not yet done. So, yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Shyam. Thank you once again. Thank you for accepting to talk about it and sharing everything. What
No
I'm sure
problem.
all of us have really gained from your experience. Thank you, everyone. I mean, the sincere gratitude to each one of you for taking time and joining us. Thank you once again. I look forward to welcoming you in the next and future sessions. Until then, stay engaged, stay inspired, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Happy Friday. Take care.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Thank you.